All right, let's get right into it. We're gonna go deep on one of the most, well, uncomfortable and yet most universally human feelings there is. Embarrassment. You know that full-body cringe that just makes you wish the ground would open up and swallow you whole? Yeah, that one. Today, instead of running from it, we're actually gonna decode it.
So, let's start right there. Just take a second and think about it. What is that one memory that still makes the heat rise in your chest, even if it happened years ago? Go on, just let it come to mind. I promise we all have one. Maybe it was something kind of like this. You're walking somewhere important, feeling confident, and then, boom, your own feet just completely betray you, and suddenly you're on the floor in front of everyone. The silence that follows feels like an eternity, doesn't it? Or how about this classic, the phantom wave? You see someone waving, you think you lock eyes, and you give them this big, friendly wave back, only to realize, oh no, they were waving at the person standing directly behind you. That awkward moment where you try to pretend you were just stretching? It's almost worse than the wave itself.
And of course, in our modern world, there's this little gem. You've just laid out the most brilliant, persuasive point of your entire career on a really important Zoom call. You finish, feeling so proud, and then you see it. The chat filling up with messages. You're on mute. Ugh, that sinking feeling is just pure 21st century cringe.
So all of these moments, they trigger the exact same core emotion. And what's really important to get here is that embarrassment isn't like fear or anger. It is entirely a social emotion. It's all about that painful awareness that we've broken some kind of social rule, and someone else saw us do it.
And you know, this fear of being seen messing up, it comes at an incredibly high cost. We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid it, and that avoidance, it has some pretty huge consequences. Let's take a look at what that real price actually is.
Now, embarrassment, guilt, and shame, they can feel pretty similar, but they're actually very different. Guilt is internal. It's, I feel bad because I did something wrong. Shame is even deeper, more personal. I feel bad because I am something wrong. But embarrassment is all external. It's about a public mistake. It's about breaking a social rule in front of other people. See, it's all about the audience.
And the fear of making that public mistake, it is a massive inhibitor. Just think about all the brilliant ideas that go unspoken in meetings, or the promotions that are never asked for, the crushes never approached, all because the potential for rejection just feels too embarrassing to risk. This fear, it literally shrinks our worlds. So if you've ever felt like getting rejected or being embarrassed was physically painful, well, you're not making it up. You're absolutely right. Neuroimaging studies have actually shown that the pain of social exposure lights up some of the exact same neural pathways as physical pain. So when you spill coffee all over yourself in public, your brain isn't just saying, oops, it's screaming, danger, pain.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the brain science. Why does a simple social mistake trigger such a violent full-body reaction? What exactly is going on inside our heads when we cringe? This is where it gets really fascinating. To really understand this, we've got to go way back. For our ancient ancestors, being part of a group wasn't just a nice thing to have. It was a matter of life and death. If you got kicked out of the tribe, you were done for. So evolutionary psychologists believe embarrassment evolved as a survival tool. When you broke a social rule, your body would automatically create this appeasement display. You know, the dropped gaze, the awkward posture, the red face. It was basically a nonverbal apology that said, hey, I know I messed up, I respect the rules, please don't banish me.
So that ancient survival wiring is still running in the background today, but it gets cranked up to 11 by a very modern quirk in our thinking. And this brings us to a crucial cognitive bias that can make every tiny mistake feel like an absolute catastrophe. And here it is. It's called the spotlight effect. When you trip, your brain puts a giant, blinding spotlight on you, telling you that absolutely everyone noticed and that they're all judging you. But the reality? Most people are so wrapped up in their own internal worlds, they barely even registered your mistake. They're way too busy worrying about what you think of them. We just drastically overestimate how much attention people are actually paying to it. So why does it feel so intensely real? Well, because when you make that social error, a specific network in your brain, it's called the mentalizing network, goes into complete overdrive. This is the part of your brain that's responsible for imagining what other people are thinking and feeling. It forces you to start obsessively wondering, what are they thinking about me? Do they think I'm an idiot? Are they laughing right now? Your brain is basically directing a little horror movie in your head, and you're the star. So here's the chain reaction in your brain step by step. First, you make a mistake. Instantly, A part of your brain that acts like a social error monitor, the PGAC, just screams, mismatch. That signal hits your amygdala, which is your brain's ancient threat detector. Now the amygdala, it doesn't really care if it's a saber-toothed tiger or a social blunder. It just sees a threat and triggers a classic fight or flight response. Your heart starts pounding, all because you accidentally called someone by the wrong name.
And this flood of adrenaline leads us to one of the absolute strangest and most fascinating parts of this whole experience. Something so unique to us that Charles Darwin himself was completely obsessed with it: blushing.
You know, we're the only species on Earth that blushes. That rush of adrenaline causes the tiny blood vessels in your face to widen. It's a process called vasodilation, and that's what turns you red. The leading theory as to why? It's the ultimate uncontrollable signal of remorse. You can't fake a blush. It's like a biological white flag that tells everyone around you, I'm aware of my mistake, which, funny enough, actually makes them trust you more. Okay, so we've covered the evolution, we've covered the neuroscience. Now let's see how all this science actually plays out in some of those all too familiar real-life cringe moments. Let's go back to our old friend, the phantom wave. You're walking down the street, feeling pretty good. You see someone waving. You wave back, big and bold, only to realize, nope, not for you. Okay, so here's the science in action. First, your brain made a prediction. That person knows me. And that prediction was wrong. That mismatch gets flagged by your social error monitor, the PGACC, which sounds the alarm. Instantly, the spotlight effect kicks in, convincing you that every single person on the street saw your mistake and is secretly laughing. And then, here comes the blush. That involuntary apology to the stranger and the person behind you, signaling that you get it. You just broke a tiny social rule. Okay, now for a much higher stakes example. You meant to send a kind of snarky email about your boss to your work best friend, but in a moment of pure horror, you realize you hit reply all. It just went out to the entire company, including your boss. Yeah, this isn't a small social error, this is a major social threat. Your amygdala goes into absolute overdrive, triggering a massive stress response. You might even freeze just staring at the screen, unable to move. And afterwards, your brain works overtime, replaying the event again and again, trying to calculate the social damage and figure out how to repair your standing in the corporate tribe. Let's do a physical one. You're on a first date, and you're trying your best to seem cool, calm, collected. You stand up to go to the restroom and just promptly trip over the leg of your own chair, almost taking out a server with a tray of drinks. This moment is all about a clash of identities. You've just violated the unspoken social rule of physical competence. The image you have of your ideal self, this smooth, graceful person you want your date to see, has just collided violently with your real self, who is, a clumsy human who trips over things. The embarrassment you feel isn't just about the fall. It's actually a social signal to your date that says, hey, I know this isn't cool and I really care what you think of me. So, now that we get the deep biological roots of embarrassment, is there anything we can actually do about it? And the answer is a resounding yes. Let's build your scientific toolkit for hacking the cringe.
So look, while we can't really stop that initial biological flush of panic, we can fundamentally change how we interpret and respond to it. Here are 4 evidence-based steps to help you take control of embarrassment instead of letting it control you.
Okay, first, a cognitive step. You have to actively fight the spotlight effect. When that feeling of being judged just washes over you, just pause and challenge it with this simple truth. Remind yourself, everyone else is the main character in their own movie. They are not paying nearly as much attention to you as you think they are. Second, you have to lean into the awkwardness. Embarrassment gets its power when you try to hide from it. The absolute best way to diffuse all that tension is to just acknowledge the mistake, and if you can, do it with humor. If you trip, you could say something like, "And that was my impression of a baby giraffe learning to walk." By calling it out yourself, you take control of the story. You signal to everyone that your self-esteem is strong enough to handle a minor slip-up, which is really the definition of confidence. And for all the blushers out there, this one is for you. It's time to reframe that red face. Research actually shows that people who blush after making a mistake are seen as more trustworthy and more likable than people who don't. Your blush is an undeniable, honest signal that you have a conscience. It's not a weakness, it's social glue. You should really try to see it as a badge of honesty, not a mark of shame.
And finally, you've got to practice. You can build resilience through exposure. Do small, safe, embarrassing things on purpose. Like ask for a 10% discount in your next coffee, or maybe wear your shirt inside out for an hour. When the world doesn't end, and I promise it won't, you are literally recalibrating your brain's threat detector. You're teaching your amygdala that social awkwardness is just uncomfortable. It's not actually life-threatening.
So let's bring all of this together with one last really powerful reframe. We spend so much energy trying to avoid this feeling, but what if we've been looking at it all wrong this entire time? You see, embarrassment isn't a bug in our system. It's a feature. It's the price we pay for being human. It's the cost of trying something new, of being vulnerable, of putting yourself out there. It is the price of admission for a life that's filled with genuine connection and meaningful risks.
Just think about it for a second. A life lived without any embarrassment isn't a life of perfection. It's a life where you're probably not trying very much, not growing, not pushing your own boundaries. A life without cringe is a life lived in a very small, very safe, and ultimately a very boring box.
So I'll just leave you with this. Think back to that memory from the very beginning. Can you maybe see it a little differently now? Not as a failure, but as proof. Proof that you are out there living, trying, and being beautifully, imperfectly human. What awkward moment can you now see as your superpower?